I want to change lives. I want to show people how to progress in their money. I want to show people how to progress in their mindset. I want to show people how to progress in their brand so that way they can take care of their family, take care of their finances, and experience freedom.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Young Entrepreneurs Network podcast. For the new listeners, I'm your host, Marco Stavro, and if you're a regular listener, thanks again for tuning into this episode. Our guest today is Andy Audate, who is a renowned published author, motivational speaker, serial entrepreneur, and founder of the Progression Conference. Andy invested in his personal development and made his first $1 million before he was 21 years old. His passion and drive for change and impact makes him an unstoppable and a powerful world changer. So without further ado, let's welcome Andy Audate on the show that changes lives and empowers people to impact and achieve.
My man, Marco, thank you so much for having me on your show, brother. I'm so excited.
Of course, I'm really privileged and honored to have you on the show. And it's really nice speaking with someone who shares the same visions and has a heart to change lives and serve. So let's dive straight into it. It's going to be a powerful one, and I know you're going to absolutely pour your heart into my changing lives and changing my audience perspective and mindset. So let's do it. So could you give us a 30-second overview of your childhood and let my audience venture into the place where you're at and what exactly went down?
Well, honestly, man, you know, my childhood is, as much as I want to say like it was like everyone else's, I don't know what everyone else's childhood was really like. So I definitely had some experiences of challenges, experiences of poverty. So for me to paint a picture, I remember sometimes, you know, being in my house and it's freezing cold in the house, and the reason why is because we're trying to save money to not have the heat go on. You know, that $1,000 payment or that $900 payment that's due every 4 to 5 months for the oil was unbearable. You know, so we try to pinch pennies as much as possible. And I love where I come from because it showed me how to get it, and what it is, whatever the fuck I want. And it's a mindset that in order for you to get whatever you want, you probably have to go through pain. And that pain that you go through is either pain that you chose to go through or pain that you were forced to go through. So I was forced to go through pain as a child, financially. However, as an adult, then I chose to go through certain types of pain so I can continue to elevate.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a lot of people go through trials and challenges, but they don't overcome them and they don't embrace it and they don't face it head on. And you were, in a way, forced to face the challenges head on, but you invested into personal development and growing not in your mind and your mindset, but who you were and what you wanted to become. So to all the millennials listening that are on a dark space at the moment and facing hardship and challenges, what advice and steps would you give them for them to transform into their ideal reality?
Can you repeat that question?
Sure. So to all the millennials listening that are in a dark space at the moment and facing hardship and challenges, what advice and steps would you give them for them to transform into their ideal reality?
Man, you know, step one is I need you to get out of your mindset. I need you to get out of your world. Look, when you open up your laptop and you watch a movie on your laptop, for a short period of time, you are completely not present to your current circumstance. And I know that from experience, where I can lay down in my bed and it's completely dark. Let's say it's like 10 o'clock at night. It's completely dark. And I can watch something like, for example, I could watch a movie, or it could be on Instagram, or it could be a YouTube show. And I'm either watching on my phone or on my laptop. And 3 hours pass by. Has that ever happened to you, Marco?
No, it hasn't, unfortunately. Not
Oh,
yet.
man, but it happens to me, man. It happens to me for 3 hours. I'm laying down and I'm like, man, it was 10 o'clock. Now it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I spent all this time. Man, you saying, yeah, like, you know, have you experienced that, man?
I haven't experienced it, but I know what you mean because
you can understand.
I understand what you mean.
So I essentially, was not present to my surroundings, where once I put my phone down, once I put my laptop down, I'm like, oh shoot, like I'm in my room, like, oh dang. And that's how immersed I was. So not only do you need to be immersed in your vision like that, not only do you need to be immersed in your dream, but you need to immerse yourself so you can experience what it would be like to live another life. So when I was living in an impoverished area on the East Coast, I'm living in a fucking hood. Like I'm living in like the trenches of the trenches, where somebody gets shot, it doesn't even doesn't faze you. It doesn't burst your bubble. You're like, oh, who got shot? Is it somebody that I know? Oh, so and so died. Damn, that sucks, man. Oh, and it's normal to wear people's faces on a T-shirt because they passed away a week prior. It's normal. It's not irregular. And that type of environment is not a conducive environment for growth. When I was living in that environment, I was immersed in my laptop looking at Los Angeles. I was looking at Beverly Hills. I was looking at the life of the rich and the famous, the entrepreneurs. I was looking at people getting into their jets. I was looking at people driving certain type of cars. I was looking at people's lifestyles. And I determined that I want that to be my lifestyle. Because here's the thing, Marco. If you don't have a vision or have a direction to go into, you will walk around this world aimlessly. Okay, you're gonna see different opportunities, and that's why teenagers, that's why young entrepreneurs get, the shiny object gets dangled in front of them, and they choose a shiny object because it's like, oh, that looks good, that sounds good. They don't have a vision. So in order for you to do something successful, you have to start with the vision. I chose that my vision was through the computer. What I saw in the computer gave me access to how life could be. And where life was at the time compared to life could be was so far apart that I need to figure out how to match the two. And I realized matching the two was me becoming an entrepreneur, controlling my finances, making enough money, making a move, making new friends, getting the right mentors, getting the right connection, changing my circumstances, changing my mindset. And that is what allowed me to level up. Change your environment, change your life.
I talk about it so often with my students, whenever it is. Materialistic objects are ones that people that are hurt and broken strive towards, and it's gonna satisfy you for whatever 10 minutes, and then the next day you're gonna realize that you're depressed and you don't want to go out your house because you're missing something. And you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, why am I here? What is meaning of life? And for me, that's why I'm able to not watch movies and not get distracted and not go to parties when everyone else is partying and sit right now on this podcast and do the work. Because I've found my purpose, I've found my why that motivates me, which is to help and transform people's lives and entrepreneurs' lives and teenagers' lives, because that's what's satisfying, that's what's fulfilling. And I need my audience to understand that. And, Andy, you found your purpose and that's what drives you. So for those people that are looking at the jets and looking at the cars, that's all great. But one day when you wake up, you're going to say to yourself and look in the mirror and you're going to say, why am I here? What am I doing? And am I fulfilled? And that's what's really important. And that's why, I resonate so much and we connect so easily, is because we both understand the importance of, living a meaningful life and fulfillment. So for the people that, don't know your business, the business journey, Andy was doing a 40-hour job and then he went to making millions from a cell phone company. Can you dive into that for us?
Yeah, at 19 years old, I was leaving the gym and someone who believed in me suggested that I open up a business. And I remember leaving the gym with my bag on my left shoulder, and the guy to my right, he's a little bit shorter than me, and he was looking at me and he was like, man, you should open up your own cell phone store. And I remember I was completely nervous. And I said, you know what? I do want to open up the store, but I don't know how to. So when I was 19 years old, someone who believed in me suggested that I open up a cell phone store. I was leaving the gym with him. And I was working at a Metro PCS store. Metro PCS in the United States is a cell phone company. And I was working at the mall. However, one of the employees and we would work out together and we went to the gym together. So this time I'm leaving the gym. I got my backpack on my left shoulder after leaving the gym. We are going to our cars. The guy is shorter than me. He looks at me and he says, Andy, I think you should open up your own cell phone store. I said, dude, I don't think I can do that. I'm black, first of all. I'm overweight. I am 19 years old. I'm a college dropout. And I'm from the hood. there's no way I can be successful. Do you see the odds that are stacked against me? He said, no, dude, I believe in you to do it, and I'll even work with you. And I looked at him and I said, I had to take someone else's belief because I didn't have belief in my own self, I had to take someone else's belief. So I opened up that cell phone store. Now, within 18 months of by overcoming fear, overcoming anxiety, and praying, I opened up the cell phone store at 19. Within 18 months, I had 4 cell phone locations, so 4 different companies. And I had 14 people working for me by 21. I had 14 people working for me. And I made my first million at 21. Now, being in that environment, I realized that I have options. I have an option. So I decided to take that money and move to California. So now I live in sunny Southern California, here in the beautiful Los Angeles. But remember, I was looking at the videos prior to. I was listening to the content prior to. I was watching what California was looking like. And that's when I made a decision right then and there. I can do anything if I put my mind to it.
Amazing. So you've made these millions now, and could you share what your purpose is? And are you in a space, are you fulfilled at this point?
Of course. Of course. I'm pouring from a full cup. You know what it means to pour from a full cup?
No.
What it means to pour from a full cup is that I'm not coming empty. I feel so great about myself. I love myself so much, dude. I feel like I'm the sexiest person. I feel like I'm like the most confident human being. Like, I can do anything. I can do whatever I put my mind to, and I want to make an impact in the world. Now, granted, it's going to take some work. Granted, there's going to be stressful periods. Granted, I might cry sometimes. Granted, there may be some challenges. But when I talk to somebody, I talk to someone to give. Right before we started this podcast, I was on a call with a potential client. This client, or this potential client, this woman is wandering the world aimlessly. She's wanting to be a speaker since 1997. That's almost 23 years. Almost 23 years. She's wandering aimlessly trying to be a speaker, and she hasn't made money in it. And I share with her, hey, let me teach you how to make money. So I spend the last 35 minutes giving her a strategy for her to use in her business so she can generate income, so she could take care of her life, her family, her kids, her wife, her husband, and support because now she's making money, her message is going to be sustainable and grow. So that means she can support more people with her message.
Yeah.
So I'm pouring from a full cup with knowledge, with experience, with finances, with love, with connection. I'm pouring from a full cup. My cup is full of all that stuff. My cup is full of finances. My cup is full of knowledge. My cup is full of experiences. Now, I'm not arrogant to the point where I can't learn anything else. I'm so humble to the point that I will be quiet in this whole entire podcast and listen to you, Marco, the fact that you're 15. I say, man, tell me what you know. I want to learn about Johannesburg, South Africa. I want to be able to go to Johannesburg. I want to hire people in Johannesburg. I want to have people in Johannesburg be on my staff. I'm working on that. And I share that with you because in order to be really successful, you have to be humble.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to quickly, before we dive into your speaking and that, I want to quickly a lot of people want to develop this mindset that you possess and I possess. What would you advise to them to get to that point where you've got abundance of confidence and your self-belief and you think that you can do anything and you can create anything, and now you're listening to people and you're learning and you're growing? I listened to 65 podcasts in 1 month.
Get out of here.
I'm not lying, brother. And that's from that point where I adopted the mindset that I can learn, I can grow. Everything's out there that's free. I listened to the biggest guys in the world and now I'm interviewing them. So that's the transition for me. What was the transition for you? You just explained that. But how can people change their mindset, and what are your advice for them?
Look, let me tell you, when I wrote the book, No More Average, and let me get it for you. I'm here in my house, so I have the blessed opportunity. I have the blessed opportunity that majority of my staff is actually virtual, so I get to work from home. My bed is right there. My couch is right here in front of me. I got a whole workstation that I spend about 8 hours of the day to here. I literally, in this position, I make hundreds of thousands of dollars in this little nook here. And if we turn outside, I live right by the Staples Center. So LeBron James, for him to go to work, he passes by my house every day. And I live in this environment where it's a thriving environment. My neighbor has a Rolls Royce. My other neighbor has a Range Rover. My next door neighbor has a Rolls Royce over here, Range Rover over here. And, this is who I'm right next to. The dude's, his car is worth $500,000, and this dude's car is worth over $100,000, man. It's the opportunity is in the show up, but you got to show up powerfully. So when I wrote this book, No More Average here, that your audience can get on nomoreaveragebooks.com. When I wrote this book here, I talked about changing your environment and the importance of it and how to. Average was when I was disgusted in being in that certain environment, that didn't allow me to thrive. So if you are in a certain environment that doesn't allow you to thrive, whether it be your home, your work, your school, read this book and you're going to learn the steps to get out, but what you're going to also be looking for. Because there's a key strategy in the type of people that you want to be around. If you want to change your habits, you want to change your mindset, it comes around the people that you're around. You cannot, Mark, you cannot cure yourself in the environment that you got sick in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to link the book in my description for people to go buy it, because I think that it's going to help people get to the next stage of their life in terms of personal development and thinking and mindset. But speaking was going to become a big part of your life that would bring a lot of fulfillment, happiness, and impact. Will you tell my audience the story of what happened with Les Brown and how you transitioned from that point on to where you are currently?
Well, here's what happened. So I'm running on in downtown Los Angeles, and this one day I'm running, and I'm listening to Les Brown in my ear. Les Brown is the #1 motivational speaker in the United States. Amongst all motivational speakers, Les Brown is the #1 and has been running #1 for, I don't know, since he started, essentially. And even to the point where he's made changes in the government. And so a very powerful man. And I heard of him when I was probably around your age, when I was around 15, and I heard of him, and I started consuming his content. And for approximately nearly 8 years, I'm consuming his content, trying to share it with my friends and so on and so forth. And one day as I'm running on the street, and I listen to him, I see a vision of me speaking on stage with him. So your team, you want to write this down. Make your vision a reality. Make your vision a reality. So I saw that opportunity in my brain. Now, equivalent to what I share with you in your, the computer screen and so on and so forth, you have to make your vision a reality. And the way that you do that is you have a mindset of bandwidth. You don't fix problems by fixing the actual problem. You fix problems by fixing mindset. The problem will fix itself. Okay? So Les Brown was giving me a mindset of growth, of prosperity, of go after what you want when you want it, however you want it. So I saw an opportunity to go on to join his speaker training program online. I clicked it. I clicked. They called me and they said, "Hey, do you want to be a speaker?" I said, "Yes, I want to be a speaker." They said, "Here's the investment." I said, "Man, that's a big investment." It was $5,000. I said, "That's a big investment, man." Oh my, that's $5,000 US. That's a huge. You know how much rand is that? That's a lot of That's a lot of South African rand.
That is a lot.
So that's a huge investment. But I decided to invest into myself. The biggest investment I can make is into me. So if this is an opportunity for me to grow, why would I allow a piece of paper to stop my growth? A piece of paper, money is paper. Why would I allow paper to stop my growth when I only have one life to live? So I decided to invest into myself. Now I invested into myself and I received an opportunity to go on tour afterwards. Now, because I invested, there was an opportunity. Write this down. The opportunity is in the show up. People are wanting these opportunities so much, but they're not showing up. So in order for me to show up and be allowed in that environment, I had to financially invest. So I financially invested and I invested with time. Then there was an opportunity to go on tour. So I decided to go on tour, and I thought I was going to be a speaker. I'm over here thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm on tour, baby. I'm going to be a speaker. Woo! I'm going to be one of those big guys on the stage. And as I'm on tour, they're like, all right, you're going to go sell tickets. I was like, at what point do I get on stage though? Yeah, you ain't get on stage, dude. You selling tickets. Like, I need you to call a certain client and sell tickets, okay? I'm like, what? I got to sell tickets? So I'm over here on the phone selling tickets, and the event comes around, and I'm in the back of the room, and I'm like, man, I want to be on that stage. But I didn't realize what I was doing subconsciously. In order to do something grand, you have to serve. So I decided to serve. So I sold tickets. I got people in the room. I sold sponsorships. I sold vendor tables. I sold everything. And whenever people needed help, I was there. Hey, do you need me to open the door for you? Hey, do you need me to push you in the wheelchair if you're an elderly person at the event? I would say, hey, Les, do you need me to do anything for you? Or you want me to grab you water? I'll get you water. Boom. Now I saw myself as in a high place. I said, I'm gonna be a big speaker. But before I became a big speaker, I said, Les, do you need any water? Hey, do you need me to grab you any food? I went and grabbed with my own money. I go grab food and brought it to Les Brown, and I served them. You must be in service before you can elevate. So you have to serve. So I kept on serving. Then there's an opportunity where they say, hey, we need a speaker. Andy, what's your message? The opportunity isn't short. Go up on stage and speak. This is my chance that I've been waiting for. So I go up on stage and I speak. That starts my speaking career.
Yeah. And now going into, you're teaching people how to speak on stage and how to monetize it and how to make an income and how to get your message across. Let's go deep into your purpose and mission, which is to make people progress every day. What are the various businesses that you have that are making people progress every day?
What are the what?
The various businesses ventures that you're involved with.
Yeah. So I run a marketing firm, a marketing agency called Progression Marketing Group, and we support entrepreneurs and brands, and we edit their content. We support them with their content strategy. Now, I believe we're living in what I call a progressive economy. Now, the progressive economy, the concept behind the progressive economy essentially is that there is so much content online that you can choose the direction of life that you want to go into versus, 126 years ago, where your ability to progress was only based on content or information that was in your immediate circle. So that's why when a carpenter had a child, that child was probably going to be a carpenter, because I'm talking about back in the day. That child was probably going to be a carpenter because all they knew in their immediate environment, as a man, you got to be a carpenter, because that's what my dad was, that's what my grandfather was. But as we grew in the economy, content distribution started growing. And now people started progressing in a different industry at a different rate. So people like yourself, who's 15 years old, you're able to progress in your life at a different rate than someone 15-year-old 50 years ago, 50 years ago, because you have immersed yourself with content like this, where you said, hey, you know what? Why don't I become a podcast host? Yes, you know what? You're right. I don't need a Lamborghini to live a fulfilling life. Yes, because you see it so much on content that you experience that vicariously through other people. So in the progressive economy, we support other people to produce their content, so that way they can continue to progress the economy or the world. So that's awesome. That's my marketing firm. And then I run an event. And now this event is what I want everyone in LED and listening to this podcast to go and experience. Go to progressionticket.com. Right now, leave the podcast, go to progressionticket.com and experience progression live at a live event. The Progression Conference, Marco, is a one-day business seminar where people are learning business strategies, marketing strategies, and personal development strategies so they can progress their life in a fast period. You're 15 years old. What you've accomplished at 15, there are people who are age 49 that have not accomplished what you have accomplished. Okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's because of your decision to progress, and it's because of the content that you consume.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm definitely going to be speaking at the Progression Conference soon.
Bro, let's bring Progression Conference to South Africa, man. That's what we got to be talking about, man. We got to be talking about how can we get the Progression Conference to South Africa. Marco and Andy Audate presents Progression Conference.
We got an event happening next year. I'm setting up with a few guys. You're going to be a speaker there.
Locked in, baby. Let's lock it in.
Cool. So reflecting back on the challenging state you were at and now all the success you've accomplished, what are your thoughts on the transition, and let the audience know the sacrifices and tribulations you had to overcome to reach your goals?
Look, dude, I actually just put a post on this on Instagram, man. I don't know if I can go back. Let me see if I can go back. But essentially what I was saying on the post, because somebody asked, because I'm a writer for Forbes. I write articles for Forbes. Cool. And somebody was asked, like I was talking about, I asked my audience on social media, and I said, what do you think I should write about for one of my articles? And someone asked the true challenges of an entrepreneur. And I said, the true challenges of an entrepreneur, I said, here's an example. I'm cutting my hair. So if you look at my hair, I cut look at my hair, man. My hair is dope, man. I'm one of the sexiest people alive. My gosh, dude. I'm looking at the screen, bro. I almost licked the screen, bro. It's so cute, bro. Oh my God. So I said I cut my own hair. Why? Because the time in Los Angeles, bro. If you live in Los Angeles, bro, the time that it'll take to get you to the barbershop, the time in LA, the time that it'll take you to get to the barbershop, and then sit at the barbershop, and then wait an hour to get a haircut for an hour, then drive an hour back to your house. Too much time, man, to get a haircut and then to do it twice a week. Oh my gosh, bro. Man, I decided to fill up my calendar so much, dog, that I have to schedule the time that I pee, okay? It depends on how high of a level that you want to operate in. So I decided to like fill up my calendar so that way that I can get as much done as possible. So that's why, I said, hey, how long do we have for this podcast? Because I'm conscious about time. So depend on how high of a level. So I chose to operate at a high level. So I'm counting every minute. Right now it's a certain minute. In the next few minutes, I'm gonna get on a call. I got a call. Right after that call, I got a Zoom call. After that call, so that's why I stay in here for 8 hours. Now I'm sharing that with you not to impress you, but to share with you or to show you what my calendar really looks like. And I would show you my calendar, but there's a bunch of phone numbers and names there that I'm not gonna show. But literally every white space, it's my assistant's jobs. I have 3 people who are submerged on my calendar, and they fill it up. Their job is to fill it up. Why do I have a white space? I need you to put an IPA there. Oh, what's an IPA? IPA is income producing activity. What is an income producing activity? Put one there. So that could be a dinner. That could be a dinner with a client, a past client, a future client, a potential client. That could be a phone call. That could be a Zoom call. That could be a podcast. That could be a book recording. That could be a call with Forbes. Whatever it is, put something there that allows us to produce income. And everything that we do as far as promotion produces income. So that's how I operate now. But the challenges that I had to overcome was the challenges of procrastination. And the reason why I'm doing it at this level is because there were times that I procrastinated and I realized that I was living underneath my potential. The biggest regret that I have is completely living underneath my potential. Living underneath like, oh man, during that time, dog, if I did this, man, I would have, I would have been in a different, that's my biggest fear. Now, my ultimate fear is being 90 years old and thinking back on my whole entire life and say all of it was a waste. Fuck. Yeah. That would have been my biggest fear. So that's the challenge that I go through, and that's the mindset that I go through. I'm nervous that I'm gonna regret if I don't take this opportunity. Now, it's not a mindset of fear of missing out. It's a mindset of taking advantage of every opportunity that's in front of me and making the best out of it.
Awesome. So what is your definition of success, and what sets you apart from all the other thousands of successful speakers and business owners?
So how I define success is really on a couple things, man. How many people am I impacting? It's more than just the money. The money, man. The money means a lot because it allows it to grow. It allows my impact to grow. It allows the mindset to grow. It allows the relationships to grow. But it really comes down to how many people am I impacting? So I look at people in my company, and I see their progression. I have people in my organization that's outside of the United States, and I see their growth, man. I see their progression on a daily basis from being non-English speakers to now you don't even hear an accent in them. One of my employees, she was always about having the right amount of knowledge. So when I did her interview, it was like a million questions, and then a million questions on the Zoom call for an interview. And then next thing you know, I get emails with questions, and she's asking a bunch of questions. And then, then she takes action. And I said, hey, look, action before knowledge. Now in our current meetings, after she's been employed for me for a while, I see her growth where she's saying action before knowledge, action before knowledge, action before knowledge. And she's teaching her subordinates, her team members, action before knowledge, which is a mindset that we have in our organization. Hey man, stop asking for all this information, bro. I don't fucking know. Take action and we'll find out on our way there. That's how I operate. That's how I got to where I'm at. And that's why I teach people. And then now she's making more money than her peers in her environment because she has this mindset of action before knowledge.
Yeah. So you've connected with some of the biggest speakers and world innovators in the world, including Grant Cardone, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, and so many more. How and what level or point do you have to be at for them to see potential in you to give their time, energy, and resources?
When the thought takes place and you're willing to exude the thought. I had dinner with dinner with Grant Cardone at a time where I was financially unstable, and it was that dinner where he gave me permission to ask people for more money. I was charging $300 a month for coaching. So if you wanted to coach with me, you would pay me $300 a month to coach with me. Now you can't. No one can afford me. People can't afford me to do it per month because the potential. The time frame, and here's the reason why. The time that it takes me to coach a client, the time that it takes for me to coach a client away from my business is me having an opportunity cost of millions of dollars, opportunity cost. And what I mean by that is that the energy that I'm putting into one person to coach them, to support them to go up, is taken away from a lot of other people as well as a lot of money. So there's no one that could actually afford me to dedicate my time to just them for that long, for a period of time where I'm just coaching. But there was a time where I did say, hey, $300, you can have my time all you want, baby, all month long. I was like a Netflix subscription. And then I had dinner with Grant and his peers, and he essentially gave me permission to get my money right. He said, get your money right and raise your fee. And so I said, okay. So I had a potential client that Friday. I had a meeting that Friday, and I pitched the woman. I was about to pitch her $299 to work with me, and instead I said $5,000. And she was like, oh, I don't know, I don't know, but you know what? All right, I'll do it. So she paid $5,000. So I went from $299 to $5,000. Then she went the next day to her boyfriend, and she said to him, hey, you got to work with Andy. So he paid me $5,000 that weekend. So one weekend I made $10,000. Then a couple of days later, that night that I had dinner with Grant, there was a service I was providing for someone in that environment, and I told them that it was $6,000, and they got paid for my flight to go out for me to provide that service. So I got paid $6,000 the following day. So in one weekend I made $10,000, in like a couple of days I made $16,000. My mind went to the next level as to what was possible because why? It was my environment that pushed me. It was my environment. So I don't share that to really tell you like, oh, hey, look, Andy made $16,000 in a couple of days. I share that to tell you that night that I had dinner with Grant Cardone, I had $300 in my pocket in total. Yeah. And then I made $16,000. And then my mind started shifting where I started asking people for $10,000 at once. Then I said, you know what? I want $20,000 at once. You know what? I want $30,000. I just started testing numbers, bro. I just started fucking around and testing numbers. And I just did a call the other day. I was like, I want $84,000 at once. And then it's the same objective that to talk to someone at $300. My vice president who works in my company, he was here, and now he's going to sales. He's focusing on sales more than anything else. So I was teaching him something. So there was a deal that I was closing, and the deal was for like $5,000, and it took me 20 minutes to close it. And it took me 20 minutes to close $5,000, and 23 minutes and 33 seconds for the actual time because we recorded it. So I was showing my vice president that, and then I went off on YouTube and I pulled up a video that took me 47 minutes to close the deal, or 48 minutes to close the deal. And I asked him, how much do you think that deal was for 48 minutes? He said, I don't know. What was it, like 10 grand, 3 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand? How much was it? I said it was for $47. $47. It took me 48 minutes online to close it. And I was already talking to him for 15 minutes before. So about an hour to close this deal for $47. And then a deal for 5 grand, 23 minutes.
Yeah.
A deal for 84 grand, bro, less than that. So I share that with you, man, because the energy that you put, man, you could actually make more money in less time. But it's a mindset thing. It's not about what you're actually doing. It's a mindset thing.
So I'm asking, but what's your advice to getting to that dinner with Grant Cardone? Let's say, for instance, I've seen you connect with Tony Robbins. Now, me as a speaker, as someone who's an entrepreneur who wants to start getting on stages around the world, how do I get an interview like this with Tony Robbins?
There's 5 currencies that you have. There's 5 currencies. Okay, you got to pay. All right. First of all, I'm telling you up front that you have to pay. And the question is, how much you want to pay? How much do you think it costs Tony to do an interview like this with Tony Robbins?
Well, straight, are you saying like pay to go for a conference and then connect with him? Or are you saying like if he literally said...
You got to pay, bro. You got to pay. I'm asking you, how much do you think it will cost?
Probably like $25,000.
All right, $25,000. Okay, good. So that's a great, how do I say, that's a great kind of perception. There's 5 currencies though. Currency number 1 is cash. That's what you just said, 25,000 cash. But what other people forget is these other 4 currencies. This currency right here is knowledge. What do you know? What is that you know that Tony Robbins or Tony Robbins' audience wants to know? What is that you know that Tony Robbins or Tony Robbins' audience that they want to know? That is worth more than $25,000 to them. If you had artificial intelligence that's going to support them, right? If you had artificial intelligence that's going to say, hey, Tony, I can take you around the world and you can do it from your living room. What? Yeah. You think he'll meet with you? Of course. Do you think he'll ask you for $25,000? No, because that is worth more than that's worth more than that artificial intelligence worth more. Now, that's knowledge. Number 2, relationships. There may be some relationships that Tony wants, but Tony doesn't have, but you have it. What is that knowledge, what is that relationship that Tony has, that Tony wants, that you have? So is it the president? Is it the connect? Do you have a relationship to the prime minister? That if you can connect them, the person that runs all of South Africa, hey, Tony, I can connect you to this person with one phone call, boom. Do you think he'll do, I just asked you that we do a podcast, man. You think he'll do that? Of course he'll do that. Yeah. That's relationship. Then you have number 3, barter. Barter is the exchange of a product or service for service. So you may have a service that Tony wants. You may have a service that Tony wants that he can't get anywhere else. He can only get it to you. And you're not taking money for it. You're like, hey, I don't want money for it. I want an interview. But I really want your service. But nah, I don't. I want an interview. So he'll do the interview with you. So you pay in barter. Or this one. What do you think this one is? The last one is energy. People think it's time. Hey, when I worked for Wendy's, bro. Wendy's is a fast food restaurant in the United States. When I worked for Wendy's, they didn't pay me because of my time. They paid me because of my energy. They paid me to flip the burger. They paid me to give the food to the customer through the window. They paid me to take the order with my body, with my energy. If it was my time, I would have just sat there and collected a check. So you got to pay one of the 5 currencies. But now, if you in your head you made the assumption that it's $25,000, then you have to give in excess of $25,000. So all the other currencies, you have to give in excess of $25,000. So if we understand that your energy is worth so much based off your knowledge, based off your relationship, based off so on so, then you have to increase your value. And the way that you increase your value is that you give to the common population. That's how you increase your value. The more that you can give to the common population is how you increase your value. So you see that I'm giving people. The reason you're attracted to me because there's a certain amount of people that I've served. There's a certain amount of people that have respect for me that I have served. Now you need to do this. You need to do the same thing where you need to increase the amount of people that you serve, so that way people like Tony Robbins or so and so can get on a podcast with you, and that way you can get whatever it is that you want. Look, I can get whatever it is that I want. I can get whatever. It's just a matter of me understanding my 5 currencies and using it to my advantage.
Amazing, profound value. Go listen to that again, write it down, because that's going to really change your life. Thinking back on all your experience and obstacles, what still makes you cry and deeply reflect on how far you've come? What project or venture excites you going into next year?
Dude, I'm hosting a national tour. I'm taking the Progression Conference nationally. I've been in this industry for approximately 700 days. I'm telling you, like.
Why not globally?
Because, man, I'm waiting for you to sign the contract so we can go to South Africa, man.
Get the papers, bro. I'm ready.
I don't even know if I can legally sign a contract with you, man. But look, I'm taking the Progression Conference. I'm taking the Progression Conference around the whole entire nation. We're doing Atlanta, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. We're doing New York up north.
Yeah, I saw the list. Yeah.
Philadelphia, Providence, Rhode Island, Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, San Diego, Phoenix. Bro, we're taking the Progression Conference national.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. And just on the first kind of part of the question, thinking back on all your experience and obstacles, what still makes you cry and deeply reflect on how far you've come?
I lay down on my bed or I lay down on my couch and I look outside and I see the palm trees. So if I were to turn the camera around, you would see palm trees, but I'm not going to turn the camera on because this computer is connected to a bunch of stuff. But I look at the palm trees and I'm like, man, I remember seeing the blood on the floor. I remember seeing the trash in the streets. I remember the foreclosed homes. And seeing that experience, there's only so much that I could have done, but I was able to get to this position. God is good. God is great. And it's about me taking action. So I'm glad I took action, but I still cried to remind myself, like, yo, this is how far I came. So it's about progression. I'm not where I necessarily want to be. I don't think I can ever be in a place where I want to be because there's always a next level for me. So I'm always striving for progression because if you're not growing, you're dying. So I'm always striving for progression, never perfection. In my company, in my organization, we don't do anything perfect, but we focus on progression. And we ask each other every single day, how did you progress today? How did you progress? What did you progress in?
Yeah. Awesome. So just to finish up the last question, if you could literally talk to your 16-year-old self right now in person, what advice would you give him? What would you tell him?
I love you, man. I love you. And I'm excited for you because you have no idea where you're headed. You have no idea, man. And if I could show him a picture of where he is now, where he would be in 9 years, at 25, man.
What other advice would you give him? Practical advice that he could start implementing?
Dude, but those mistakes is what got me here, man. The times I almost got arrested, the time I was selling drugs, that shit, man, that shit almost got me, is what got me here, man. So I don't want to change anything as much as if I were to go back, I want to be in a certain place, but I don't want to change anything because everything showed me the time that I made my mom feel a certain way because I was such a troubled kid, at that age, I made my mom feel a certain way. It showed me how to maintain positive relationships now, So, but I would definitely tell him, hey man, relationships is key. Take care of every relationship. And it's not like I messed up relationships, but it was more of a reminder. Take care of your relationships with your family. Being an entrepreneur, being a businessman, and constantly striving for something that takes an immense amount of focus. It's going to take a different version of you in order for you to handle that amount of focus. So don't deny your family, don't deny your loved ones. You know, I've had people who love me so much throughout the years that because of my immense focus and my decision to progress in my enterprises, that I hurt some people emotionally. And it's really about making sure that you take care of both. Take care of your goals, also take care of the people who love you and that you love.
See you guys next time. Thanks again, Andy, for coming on the Young Entrepreneurs Network podcast.